I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, man. We finally do this, yeah. After so
Um,
many changes.
true. But finally, it's happening. So, formally, welcome to season five. It's nice to say season five because we worked hard for all four seasons, and I'm sure you can relate this in your career as well, right? So, welcome to season
Absolutely.
five. We are recording episode number 2 of our podcast show, What's Your Sankalp? And it's so cool. It's awesome to have you with me today and have this conversation. For the listeners, Karan Chauhan. So he put a little hint in the background, but if you didn't get the hint yet by the deck of cards,
Oh,
the,
yes. Yeah.
if you didn't get the hint yet, he is a
Yes, I
messenger.
am.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say something else.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You should have said with the by the deck of cards that you see that should give you a hint. He
Yeah.
is a gambling addict, and then you should have.
Okay, I will cut that out and start with that. So he's a gambling addict, and this is his counseling session. So
Right.
we'll be talking about some dark stuff and hopefully resolve his issues. But no, so comedy. So comedy is also
Yeah.
something he's known for, and that's you can see it, why. This is my first time to interact or even hear about someone who does both magic and stand-up comedy. And I've seen all your work, and you do that perfectly, the balance between the
Thank
two.
you.
So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being part. So yeah, take us into the world of the Karan Chauhan show. That's what it's called, right? How
Yeah.
how on earth did you bump into a profession where you combined two different things, and now your career is going forward? How did this start? Let's talk about that.
So I started with magic. That is how most of the people start.
Okay.
So I was a magician first, and I was an introvert, so magic was my way of opening up to people. It was like if I can't go and talk to them, I will do a card trick, and then they will come and talk to me. So I took the harder route, and for me that was easier actually. So magic was I did magic for like I think 4 or 5 years. Initially, I learned, I practiced, I did a bunch of shows here and there. But there is so many magicians out there. So many people are doing great work in the magic industry. And if you really want to be a commercial success of any sort, and you want to sort of earn a living out of this, you have to find that one thing that you're unique with, even inside something as niche as magic. So for me, it was comedy because I've been a funny person. Uh, Everybody thinks that my mother, my wife, that's it. But yeah, no, there's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people who think that. But
That's
eventually,
good
so
enough.
yeah, actually, yeah. Oh my god, dude. So comedy came in later for me. It came in around 2015, and I started magic in 2010. So 5 years later, I sort of got into this whole comedy thing, and I
Okay.
realized that it's a good blend. It is a little difficult to blend, but when you can do it, it is amazing as an experience to the audience.
Right.
Comedy is all about telling the truth. Magic is all about lying to people.
Right.
So that sometimes becomes a little bit of a hassle. But yeah, once you get the formula right, it is the most amazing thing people will ever experience.
Well,
Because what I have realized over the years is that people try to catch out magic all the time. They're looking for that little part where they're guessing the trick. But when you add comedy to it, they're having so much fun that they forget about trying to figure out the trick. So
exactly.
my life became easier actually after that.
Well, it's not like computer science or some other degree that you just go to college and then you learn, you get inspired or something. Who was your inspiration when you initially started, and how young or what was your age when you learned about magic, and it's not just a fun thing, to watch or, enjoy. When did you realize, okay, let's start learning, and then, eventually that became a profession? Who was your inspiration to begin with?
So I was 16 years old when I started doing magic, and my inspiration was there was this TV show, and they
Okay.
were doing reruns. So this was a 1994 TV show, but they were doing reruns I think in 2010 or something on AXN, and the show's name was What Is Magic by David Blaine.
Okay.
So the first time I experienced magic was David Blaine, and it was so different.
Right.
He's on the street wearing tracks and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
just catching random people and taking a coin, biting it off, spitting it back, handing it back. Everybody's going crazy over there. So I was like, if this is what magic has become, this is very interesting to learn.
Okay.
And then the whole process of magic, like you said very correctly, there is no magic college or there is no institution that teaches you this. But there is YouTube.
Yeah.
So my career has practically come out of YouTube, the entirety of it. That's where I started, and a bunch of books that I found, and that's where the journey began at the age of 16 in 2010. And my prelims and board exams were, as my prelims were starting, magic was starting. So I had to choose between both. So as my magic knowledge went up, my academics went down. Like both were like nicely proportionalized. And eventually I realized that this is something I really love doing. There is no other reason for it. I am at my best when I'm performing. I feel amazing when I'm on stage. And that feeling I had never gotten before. So I wanted to make this my profession, not knowing that how much money is there in this, how much financial success will be there in this. And I come from a Gujarati family. So yeah, I caused a lot of shame to the entire family.
No,
It is true.
I'm sure they are very proud. Wait, so you're making it sound too easy. Let's go back a little bit because I want this also to be an episode where people understand how you start, how you sustain, and then how you keep yourself motivated, irrespective of it being interesting or not. So let's start with. So you said you realized, okay, this is something I want to do. I love doing this. Let's continue doing this. But you're also doing your academics, right? So and there's family, obviously. You're not in this world without family. So how did you explain to them? Or did you just run away from your house, get some success, and then you came back and then they accepted you because you have money now? Just kidding. How did this happen?
No.
Yeah.
No, I am a Gujarati guy. I would never leave any place that gives me free stay, food, shelter, and everything else, especially free Wi-Fi. My parents give me Wi-Fi, so yeah. But yeah, so basically, 2 years into this, I was in the 12th standard, which is here I don't know what, there's high school and stuff. So after the 10th, there's the 11th and the 12th standard. So by the time I got to the 12th standard, I was completely into magic. I knew this is what I wanted to do. And when I told my parents, they obviously were not very happy because no child ever went to the parent and said, I want to be a magician. And the father said, of course, son, this is exactly what I wanted for you. Nobody said that, no, dude. So my dad and my mom were like, nah, this is a passing phase. He is liking it right now, but he'll eventually forget it. But I didn't. That started becoming a problem for everybody. And we would have constant fights in the house because of that. And like I said, my academics went down as my interest in magic went up. So after the 12th standard, I flunked the 12th standard exams, which is supposed to be the big one, another big one, the board exams. And my family was freaking out that he's done now. He's not going to make anything of himself in the future, and this is over. I want to do this, but I don't have a way to do it. There's nobody to teach me. How much can you learn from YouTube? You know, the technicalities, the nuances of a performance that YouTube will not teach you. YouTube can teach you tricks, and tricks are not enough. In magic, the character, personality, presentation, showmanship, everything has to come together. So I think I flunked the 12th standard board exams, and I realized that maybe maths is the problem. Maths was one of the subjects I flunked in, maths and accounts. So I was like, I'll shift to arts. From commerce, I'll go to arts. In arts is easy. Everybody always said, arts is easy. Arts is easy. So I said, I'll do arts. My parents want a graduation degree. I'll give them that. And arts will give me time to focus on magic also. So everybody will be happy. So I started college. I flunked 1 year. I started college again. And I did not go to college for 6 months. The first 6 months, I would tell my parents that I'm going to college. And I would take like a 10-kilometer round and come back after 2-3 hours. And said, I went to college. And I did that for 6 months. They kept asking questions. When are they doing exams? Where are your books? And I'm like, they'll come. I don't know. Something is going on. And I would just give excuses. And I think at the beginning of 2014, Jan, Feb, around that time, I just came home one day after doing the same thing, went around, took around, came back, and my mother was like, when are the exams? And then I told her that I have not been going to college for 6 months. I don't want to study. I want to take a dropout. I want to give this some time. Let me learn this properly. I will make something out of it. I know I can do this. And my mother, like every Indian mother, she very irritatedly said, you know what? Do whatever you want. So now at this point of time in life, I had two choices. Either I can focus on her tone, the way she said it, and say that, you know what, forget this magic thing. I'll go to college. I'll do this. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Or I could ignore the tone and listen to the statement only. And she said, do whatever you want. So
Okay.
I did whatever I wanted, and I started focusing on magic after that. And so I'm a college dropout technically, by choice, not by chance. I want to clear it up for everyone.
No, that's what I was going to say. You definitely
Yeah.
did have clarity, even though you
Yeah.
didn't want to do college, you had clarity of what you wanted to do otherwise. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people just want to bunk college and don't know what to do otherwise, right?
Right.
But you had a set path, so which is good.
Yes. Yes. And I personally feel that anything where you have to study of any sort
Right.
is technically education. I do not feel that reading books and giving exams is the only way to get educated. I
Right.
feel that the research that I had to do the kind of shows we're doing today
Right.
during that time is all
Right.
coming back now and is very fruitful for me today. But I didn't know that would be the case when I was trying to find out secrets and learn more and watch other magicians back then and to just understand this art form and
Right.
how are people who back then were ahead of me or people who were my seniors were charging six-figure salaries for one show. And
Right.
that baffled me. That, and sorry, I'm bringing the money factor in, but
Right.
we live in a world where people associate money and success.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So,
Yeah.
and also I'm a Gujarati, so I love money. I've said that a million times in this podcast now by now.
Right.
But yeah, so that baffled me. How can somebody have a career where you don't have to work every day? You don't have to worry about a Monday. You don't have to wait for a weekend. And you're working only when the show is. It's not true, but that's how people see it, that you're only working during the show. So you're working for 45 minutes
Yeah.
and you're charging them six figures to do that.
Right.
And everything else is paid for. What the hell is this life, right? And I noticed that all of this, achieving that, because that is the paramount of success for everybody. For my parents, that would prove to them that I did something with my passion. I just didn't drop out of college and did nothing. They don't have to worry about the future anymore. So
Right.
the first goal became to actually get commercial success, which is actually the wrong way to go. Most of the magicians would try to create a brand first, eventually get shows, and then slowly develop commercial success. We directly went for commercial success. I wanted to first start charging a certain amount of money so that my parents see it and it is proved to them that I will do something about my future and they don't have to be worried anymore.
Right.
So we focused on that first. Even social media came in later for me. So many years later, I decided to make a YouTube channel. Instagram is something we are paying attention to right now.
Yeah.
I haven't really bothered about that too for all these years. So now we are trying to do new things because the commercial success part is sorted out.
Wait, so you started this very recently. It's like when you're saying 2014, I feel like that's very recent.
Yes.
Your adventure into comedy and magic, and that happened. Did both happen at the same time?
No. So
Okay.
2014 was when I dropped out of college and I was only doing magic shows.
Okay.
The problem is that until 2014, I would get show inquiries from other magicians. So
Right.
magicians would sometimes double book on the same date. So
Okay.
some of my seniors would call me up and say, I am not free to do this one particular show. Can you go and do it?
Okay.
I was excited to always do that. So I would say yes. And then I would tell my parents that I have a show plan. They would say, no, you're not doing this. Because they felt that if he gets into this whole money thing at this age, and if he even sees a little bit of money, he's going to think that, oh, this is all enough and I can earn money now with magic. So I'm all God now. So they were like, no shows doing, nothing doing.
Right.
So for 4 years, I had to say no. It was in 2014 when I dropped out of college. I told my parents that I don't want to do this. This is my destiny is being a magician, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I had no work because 4 years when you say no to work, nobody calls you again.
Right.
Because there are people who've replaced you already in 4 years and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was now looking for work as I was learning magic on one side and looking for work on the other side. And that is when a couple of my seniors were traveling to a magic convention in Thailand. And there was a competition held, which is the competition for the Medal of Merlin. It is an award given by the International Magician Society, which is in the US.
Right.
It was headed by Tony Hassini. I'm not sure if he's still heading it right now. But back then he was heading it. This is around 2014 only.
Okay.
And then at that time, I asked my parents that can I go to this convention? Because one of my seniors had convinced me to participate in the competition.
Right.
So I was like, all I need to do is make a 7-minute act and then take it over there and
Right.
perform in front of some very legendary performers.
Right.
So I asked my parents, they're like, you're not going to college, you're not doing anything. So yeah, probably go do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Bangkok with all of these seniors of mine. We did the convention. I participated in the competition and I won.
Right.
The contest. So that was the first Medal of Merlin I received. And so nobody knew my name until that time. But these seniors of mine, they had connections. They've been performing for 15 years, 25 years. So they had connections in the entire industry. So the moment I received the award, they clicked pictures and they sent it to every group they knew. And now suddenly every magician in the country knows there is a guy called Karan Chauhan and he's bringing the medal of Merlin to the Indian fraternity of magicians. So everybody was excited. Now when I came back, now magicians were trusting me a little bit. So slowly the work had started happening. But after a point of time, I realized that this is not what I want, because this is still not going to be proof enough. Eventually, this is still not going to get me shows enough, or bigger shows at least, because there is 10 other people like me doing the same card tricks, doing the same coin tricks, doing the same everything.
Right.
There's nothing different, you know.
Right.
And that is when I was introduced to, I think, my main heroes which exist today in my mind. I mean, they don't exist anymore. Some of them don't. There are a bunch of people. The first one was Tommy Cooper. He was a British comedy magician, and he was excellent. Slapstick comedy, 40-year career he had. Variety shows he done, and amazing, amazing. And most of us would not like his material, but I loved his character. His character design was amazing. He was a 7-foot man with a character like a child on stage. So the contrast made it very funny. And this man could do anything and he would laugh. That is how good he was. And he was a comedy magician. So he would use magic and comedy and to combine both the things. Then I came across Penn and Teller, who very openly said magic is a lie and we are all liars and nothing is real on stage. In comedy, we had Don Rickles and Robin Williams. So all of these people, I saw their work more than. After that point of time, I started really liking what they were doing. So I got inclined to comedy after that. So 2015 was the time. 1 year later, I sort of got into comedy. And that is when this combination started developing the first time.
This podcast or the show is more about failures than it is about success, because we can see your success on Instagram or some other platform, but not your failures as much. And that is why that is what I want to focus on the next question of, I mean, do you remember the situations where you started in your career and your tricks and your acts didn't go well, it didn't perform well? How did that journey, start, and how did you recover on stage? Just a 101 for people to understand. Okay, to fail on stage, and then how do you don't have to cry and run away, right, from the stage. What do you do? What do you do in such situations? If you remember, instances like those, and even now, even now, does that happen to you on stage where something doesn't go as planned, and what do you do?
So there was a senior magician of mine who a long time back told me when I made my first mistake, that if you do not make mistakes in magic, you are not performing enough. Right. So like you said, even today, yes, mistakes happen. What happens to us as magicians is we become better at covering them up. That is all that happens with the whole experience game going on. Right. But the show that I remember, the first corporate show that I did, and the corporate thing is a big deal in the magic industry, stuff like everybody. A corporate magician is top-notch respected. Yeah, he's a corporate magician. It only does corporate events. Oh my God. So I wanted that. Right. So I was like, yeah, this is where. And then the first corporate show we got, and not a lot of money they're paying, but I designed the show out of sheer excitement that what I'm going to do this show. I'm going to do it right. And then one of the tricks in the show failed. Right. So basically, I was trying to guess a word. I told somebody to think of a word, and I was trying to guess it, and I guessed the wrong word. And back then, I don't know how to cover that up anymore. And people just laughed about it, right? The people like, and they loved it. And I didn't realize it back then during that performance that they're liking it. Because I was taken aback. I was like, if this is not what is the word? And I don't know how to go back from this. So I did the rest of I think there were 2 tricks left after that. So I finished both the tricks. I finished the show and I went backstage and I'm sitting holding my head. That first corporate show, and one trick did not work. And all people are going to remember is that one trick did not work. They'll forget the other 4 that worked. Right. The one thing did not work. This is crazy. And as I'm thinking all this and sulking, the event manager walks in and says the client wants to meet you. I'm like, of course. He's going to say that the show was bad. You failed on stage. We're not paying you money. So I went to meet the client, and the client was like, the show was amazing. And I especially like the part where you made it look like the trick had failed. And then I, like being as sly as I am, I was like, that was amazing, right? Yeah, that was trying. Yeah. Wow. And that day, this became the basis of what we are doing today. Because a lot of my show today also involves failures designed on purpose. And some of them, I started experimenting a lot after that. So this was my first time I failed. And I realized that failure can be used also if you know how to use it.
It sort of felt like a eureka moment for you where you thought, okay, my failure is also entertaining, and entertainment means business, and business means money and more shows, right?
Absolutely.
That is pretty cool.
So that was one failure. Then once, I think there was this one time when I was auditioning for a TV show,
Okay.
and that was like a big deal, and I did not get selected for it, obviously, because
Okay.
what I was trying to do completely went off, like not even close. It was, I
Okay.
think, something with playing cards I was trying to do, and they had chosen a card, and so the process is very basic. You get somebody to pick a card, and then you put it
Right.
back in the deck and you shuffle it. Now, obviously, when they put it back in the deck and you're shuffling it, there is some control involved. The
Right.
card is really not getting lost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be impossible otherwise.
Yeah.
And this lady, who was from the channel, I said, "Now you're going to put your card back in the deck." And the moment I presented the deck to put, she snatched the cards and she put it back in anywhere she wanted, and she shuffled the whole thing up. So now I have really lost the card, and I don't even know what it is.
Okay.
And then I said, "No, well, I can't do the trick now." And they said, "Okay, we'll let you know. You know, when you're applying for a new job and the HR goes, we'll let you know. You know what that means, right? They're never coming back."
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
But
so
I think it's getting even more difficult as it goes, right? Because people know what magic is, people know
yeah,
tricks, and as much as subtle you want to make it happen, we already know you're trying to fail now because that's what
yeah,
it's part of the show, right? So
it's a
I
part of the show. Yeah.
it must. So how is it going for you? Like the tricks that the shows that you orchestrate, is it getting
Right.
different as you go, or what do you do to make sure that you're ever improving and also still have that magic and that subtleness of fooling your audience? What do you do? Like, do you practice anything every day? How does it work?
Yeah. So what I do usually is, like I said, I do this because I love it. I
Right,
absolutely love this. Like this is everything to me,
right.
and which is why my time pass usually is also watching magic videos. So
Mm,
the more performers you watch, the more things you're gonna learn, and that is the one thing I do. And the second thing I do is, I try to hit the stage as much as possible. I pick up spots in the local clubs and stuff, and sometimes I put up my own shows. I do that very rarely. Currently we're doing a theater show, so I don't have to do that anymore. And I keep experimenting, you keep creating new stuff, because this whole failure concept cannot be the entire show again. That was another thing that I realized after completely screwing it up.
right,
Because when once you get something, you're like, this formula is working, this will be my formula for the rest of my life. So one failure, so the whole show initially became failure, and then the trick works.
right,
Failure, and then the trick works. By the time they see the third trick and the third failure, they know the trick is going to work. So
right.
the reaction will dilute. So
Exactly.
I had to find a way around that, and the way I do that is I keep watching a lot of magic, and I keep experimenting a lot of things, so that I know when to put the failure and when not to put the failure.
That makes sense.
So every time you expect the trick to fail, it will not fail, and every time you don't expect it to, it will screw up so royally that
Mm,
there is no going back from that point for the audience.
right, right.
Yeah,
And you started the conversation by saying you were an introvert. So that is something also I want to document in this episode about how you have to put yourself out there, and this is not something you're born with, right? Interacting with people or, being on
uh,
stage, facing your fears. How do you think you progressed from being, I don't know, does that come naturally to you, or did you have to progress from being a shy person to being, okay, I have to be this way, maybe sometimes rude and on their face, to have success, to move forward in this competition, right? How do you think that channeled for you?
so you're right about it. It was the second thing.
Okay.
Introvert, I knew was a problem, and
Right.
I chose a career which you cannot be an introvert. Like openly,
Right.
you can't be an introvert on stage.
Yeah.
So I very slowly, gradually had to understand the fact that if I want to do this, then I have to sort of either become an extrovert all of a sudden, or I have to at least try
Right.
to sort of at least let go of the stage fear.
Right.
Because introvert, shy, all that, then you put that person on stage and you can't really do much.
Right.
Because introvert people on stage, if they are introverted and they're not used to this whole stage thing, it will scare them. Even
Right.
sometimes extroverts are scared of the stage. The stage is a very scary place, dude. Actually, people don't realize it. It is very scary to be on stage.
Yeah.
So eventually, I had to understand this, that I will have to let go of this. And I personally believe, from my personal experience, that introverts never become extroverts. We just learn to hide it better, and that's what I kind of did. I learned to hide it a little bit, little by little, and then eventually it got to a point where I am very extroverted on stage. But if you put me in a social situation around people whom I don't know, I will want to go home and switch on Netflix, get a pizza, eat, and that will be my fun time.
Right. Something also we talked about is how you do this irrespective of the time of the day, right? Practicing.
Right.
for someone who's doing any regular job, you only do your job between 9 to 5. But for
Yeah,
someone in a creative job like this, you're ever working, right? So,
yeah.
in terms of that and the money, how did you safeguard yourself, right? I think you're at a stage in your life where, okay, you are, making enough shows, making money. How do you think you were able to safeguard yourself, when maybe pandemic or something unforeseen happens, or there's more
Right, right.
competition and then you're not relevant anymore? Touch wood, that doesn't happen. But, how do you think in terms of money and, because this is not a paycheck that you get, every, like in a regular interval, right? So how did you
Yeah.
plan that about?
So basically, what I realized a long time back is that there has to be an average number of shows you need to do, firstly.
Right,
Then that average number has to be fixed. You
right.
can increase those during season time when there's proper events happening, which is through September to I think March ending. Is usually the time when events, weddings, corporates, everybody's going haywire with their money. They're
Right.
like, take my money and do my shows, please. That is the zone. So that time you will get a rise in the number of shows. But during off-season time also you have to try and maintain that average. Now today I have a team who does that for me, but
Right.
earlier I didn't have one. Yeah.
Mhm.
So earlier on it was very difficult, but eventually when the team got set up, like with the managers are there, the stage hands are there, everybody's now working towards this one thing: to sell the show, to maintain the show, and to market the show, and to
Right.
manage
So
it also.
would you have done this sooner, having a team? What would you have told your younger self who was working by himself so that people
Right.
understand what it means? Having a team means paying someone else, right? You're not earning
Yes.
enough yet to pay someone
Yeah.
else, right? So what would you have told your younger self? Would you have done this sooner, having a team, or do you think it happened at the right time?
No, I think it happened at the right time. It
Right.
is important to grind, because if you get a team very, very soon, and if you get managers who are handling your business for you very soon, you will be completely dependent on them. You have to know the basics at least of how the industry works. So
Right.
when the average amount of shows were not happening, which I wanted, I was learning at that time, how this market is working, how clients think about booking a show, what makes them say yes to. There are 15 options they are presented, and what will make them say yes to, yes, I want Karan, nobody else. So
Right.
why does a client say yes to something? So all of those things you realize, then you get a management team on board, and then they'll just add to your progress. They will
Right.
add massively to your progress, but you have to know the basic things, because otherwise there is a chance that one day your manager will say something from experience. You do not understand that yet because you got a manager very soon. There will be clashes, and then there is no manager again, and you are back to square one. You
Right.
don't want that, honestly. So I don't. I would go back to my younger self and just say, I think I would advise one thing.
Mhm.
I don't know if I should say it on the podcast or not. You can edit it if you want.
Okay,
I would
sure.
advise my younger self to start drinking Old Monk sooner. It is amazing. There are so many tricks with drinks, man, that I
Oh,
couldn't do
okay.
back then, which I can do
Okay.
now. Yeah, and I don't see. I tell you this. Uh, when you produce a drink on stage, for example, the most basic example would be there's an empty glass and it fills up with a drink of some sort.
Okay.
The whole magic is not the drink is full, the glass is empty, glass is full. The magic is when you give it to an audience to taste, and it is
Right.
actually the drink they are thinking of, and they
Right.
sip it and they say, yeah, this is orange juice, or this is rum, yeah, this is
Yeah.
whiskey. That is where the magic moment lies. None of this I could do because I was very young, and I was not at the legal age and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I missed out on a lot of great tricks back then. I have started doing them now.
Wow. Okay. So when you were, so initial stages of your career, your goals, your milestones, what were they when you started off, or maybe in between, or of your career? Like, what were your goals? Did you achieve them? And what do you think your goals are now? Because you already know that you have to do a certain amount of shows
Yeah,
in this month,
yeah,
in this year. Now, for me, it feels like it has become a job. It sounds a bit boring, but you say you're
yes,
still doing this out of love. How much percentage of that is true, and how much of it is like monotonous? And
right.
yeah, tell me about that.
So you are right. It does sound like a job when I say it like that. And there is a high chance that you might get saturated very quickly when it comes to this part of your career. When you're
And
doing certain amount of
that
shows,
applies for any profession, right? Not
anything,
just,
yes,
yeah.
anything, yeah, and including magic, comedy, doing shows and stuff. So the advantage that I have is that I am the boss, so I get to decide everything. And
Right.
the only thing that I have kept still in my hand is the creative side of everything. The selling and everything is given out to people in the company. The creative decision is always mine at the end. So I get to build my show. Nobody has say in that. The reason why I've kept it with me is because I want to constantly change my show. which is exactly the opposite of what everybody would advise a younger magician coming up. Because the only thing I heard was make a 1 hour show, make one, and just keep doing that for the rest of your life, and you will keep becoming better, which is true, but it will become monotonous. So what we do is, so like for example, we were in Jaipur yesterday. So the 45 minutes I did for that company, we have another show on the 10th. That company will see a completely different show. They have not asked for it, but I am changing my show because I get bored of this very fast, and then it becomes monotonous. So you keep changing the show. That is that I'm not advising anybody to do that who wants to get into magic, but this is my way to not make it monotonous because I really love this and I don't want to stop doing it.
Now, this is your way to stay young in this
Yes.
because there's still
I am still young, bro. Don't say that. Don't look at the 5 white hair you see on my beard.
It's been a decade.
I told him to cut it. Didn't he cut it? That's just...
No, I mean, in terms of, you know, why, you know, I actually, to be honest, I felt you're old because of the shows that you have done, you know, the stars you've reached, you know, the stages you've shared with. I felt you're old because what else do you want?
Because I'm fat. Say it, Sankalp, because I'm fat. Say it. That's what you want to say. That's what everybody says. Come on, it's okay. I can take it.
Why do you think my camera is like upward here?
Why do you think I'm wearing a hoodie right now?
Well, I lost track of what I wanted to ask.
You were saying that I look old because I'm amazing.
No, it's because of the things you've already done. You achieved everything that, you know, someone who wants to start wants to achieve, and that's what I was asking you. Like, you know, you must have definitely wanted to, you know, perform on big stages, and now that you've done that, what is your next goal in this career that you have?
Yes, we are back, bro.
Yes, welcome back. All right, so in conversation with Karan Chauhan, the magician, we were talking about your next goals and milestones, if that's something you want to share with us. And hopefully, another reason why I do the show or the podcast episode is to manifest things for incredible people like you. So say it out now and see what happens.
So my next goal is, like I said, I've started focusing on social media very recently.
Okay.
So my next goal is to grow that and as much as possible, and to get this whole idea of comedy magic out there in such a manner that when people think about magic, they don't see it the way, you know, people are used to seeing it. I want to change the way people look at magic, and I want people to understand it's an art form. There is more to it than just entertaining a bunch of 5-year-olds in a birthday party. There is so much more to it.
The two things I remember is a box of, small magic tricks, the dices, the balls, and the caps and stuff. And the other thing is, like you said, at birthday parties for kids.
Yeah, man. I never had a magic set, which is hilarious. I actually got my first magic set after I turned professional. And I was like, this is so amazing. I mean, all of this stuff is amazing. And I'm trying to sort of put them in our upcoming show now, to put up the same point that these are very childish tricks which I took out of a magic set. But look what can happen with them if you put the right knowledge into it.
It's kind of nostalgic. So are you saying it's part of your, that little box? I don't know if that's ever part of your set. You know, it's funny.
No,
if you bring
it is funny, yeah. So it is not a part of the show yet, but I'm trying to make it a part of it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, we're figuring it out.
What about the next shows and the projects that you have coming up? Is there something big that you're working on as a project, as part of the Karan Chauhan show, that you would like to share that people can watch on your Instagram or social, any other platform that you're on?
No, so we're not doing anything big on social media yet because we're still trying to figure out content, like what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
That's still in the experimenting stage in my case. It is too late for it, I know, but it's still, we're getting there.
Okay.
But we are working on a new show, which is going to be a live show. Okay. And the name of the show is going to be Liar.
Okay.
And the entire show is going to debunk the idea of how magicians lie to people all the time.
Right.
And it'll be like a one-man show. It'll be 2 hours long with an interval in the middle.
Okay.
And this is going to be for theaters. So I have 1 year to work on it. And currently I am gathering everything that I can think of in the terms of lying to people and sort of still being able to do magic. So that again, like we discussed earlier, that how do I not let this become saturated or
Right.
monotonous?
Right.
Is this is how I do it? This whole concept is very fresh for me because again, how do you do magic without lying? So
Right.
that is the challenge we've taken up, and that is why the show is called Liar also.
When you talk about social media, the
Yeah,
challenges of it,
yeah,
is there a fear of, putting the content out there because you might want to do that set again on a different show, and that's why it's difficult to create content? Because when I see clips of stand-up comedians, they just
yeah,
put clips from their set, and it's pretty simple, and those clips
yeah,
go pretty viral, irrespective of
yeah,
the quality of the clip and the
yeah,
jokes, maybe the quality of jokes as well. They are pretty viral because it's very
yeah,
accessible, right? Is
yeah.
that the challenge you're talking about, or what challenge are you facing in this social media startup for you?
So with social media, the thing is that one thing is this: yes, the content building is difficult because you can't come up with funny tricks all the time.
Yeah,
You can come up with tricks, you can't come up with funny tricks all the time.
right.
And the problem is that getting a video shot, now if I want to put something on the channel, it has to be recorded properly, it has
Right,
to be edited properly, and for something like magic you need multiple camera angles. If I'm
right.
showing a playing card, I can't have a master shot, I need some one shot giving me a close up on my hand or something, right?
Yeah,
So it's a bigger setup involved.
right,
Getting that setup on a continuous basis becomes very difficult all the time.
right.
So
Okay.
what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to focus on shorts. So with
Right.
YouTube and Insta Reels, and the general attention span of the audience has now become 30 seconds. We're
Oh,
trying to focus. Yeah, we're trying to focus on shorts because I think it's more accessible than watching a 8-minute video also, and it's just quicker for people to scroll through and get entertained or see the kind of content I'm putting up. The
right.
second challenge we are facing is the kind of content I want to put up. So
Yeah.
that is where the experimentation is going on right now. So some of the reels you'll see will be like a proper magic trick. Some of them will be us doing just mad stuff,
Right.
which is something we started doing very recently. My editor calls it the adventures of the Karan Chauhan show.
Okay.
I don't call it that officially, but it is stuff like daily problems being dealt by a magician. My car keys are lost, so now
Okay.
I'm a magician. I'm going to make them appear, and we are
Yeah.
doing very cranky stuff in that. So that is one thing we are experimenting with, the kind of content, and it's very recent, so it's very difficult to say where it will go. But people are liking it, dude. People are liking it more than people are liking the actual magic I was putting up, which is
Right.
hilarious because
Right.
yeah, magic took more work, but yeah, people are liking this more. So we are making more of those videos now.
That's nice. Burnouts, the downside of chasing a creative career. Is there something you want to share with the listeners on the reality of it, or have you been able to maintain a healthy lifestyle? You know, if there's anything at all that you want to share, burnouts and, taking too much on your plate, maybe for money or success or, staying relevant. What do you have to say?
Yeah. I think every career of any sort, creative or otherwise, has certain downsides to it, and so
Right.
does this.
Yeah.
The upside to this is that this on the outside feels very glamorous to people all the time. Oh, you travel all the time, man, and you do shows and yeah, celebrities and this and that. Yeah, it's there's so much more to it. So I joke about this a lot internally. Our team jokes about this a lot. That we want to bring certain people who say this to one of our shows and take them with us, because to do that 30-minute set that you're booked to perform, uh, the rest of the time is just waiting around. First, you're waiting for the tech check to happen, then you're waiting for the show to start, then you're waiting for your time to come to go on stage and perform. And after it is over, you're waiting for the payment to happen, and then, you're waiting to get back home. We did this show in Jaipur yesterday, and the Jaipur show was a 45-minute set. It was for a corporate,
Right.
and the traveling time was 7 hours because we went to Jaipur. From Jaipur, we had to go to Ajmer. From Ajmer, the venue was in another city completely different. So all of that traveling sometimes takes a toll. No, and you can't show that during the show because you've traveled 7 hours to get to a place, and now you have to suddenly be energetic on stage and behave as if nothing has happened, and you were chilling like 2 seconds ago.
Exactly.
So
I was
all
gonna
of those
say
things, yeah,
you can't be funny 24/7, right? Like
yes,
I think that's a
that is,
perception that people should stop having because
yeah,
you said you travel, you promote, you work on it. And what do you do to keep yourself, consistent, motivated, ready for the show? And you can't cancel, postpone shows because it's booked. People will come. You have to show up.
So for that, so which is why I feel that my manager is amazing because he is a big help with this. My
Right.
manager is induces comedy out of me. He's a person of that sort. He's very young. He's 24 years old. The particular manager who travels with me and manages the on ground stuff
Right,
of the show.
right, right.
So that guy is hilarious in his own way, and our banter is something that keeps my mind fresh all the time. So even when we're traveling, we're fooling around all the time.
Right.
So that is the only way I try to sort of forget every other thing because I need to get in the zone of comedy. I need to be funny on stage. So
Right.
that is one thing we do. And
Right.
the second thing that I do is I basically I watch a lot of movies, dude. I watch a lot of movies, and I watch everything that I watch is exactly opposite of what I do.
Right.
This is a very weird thing, and I've never shared this with anyone.
Okay.
But I watch murder mysteries, anything where guts are spilling out, somebody's being killed, or there are ghosts in it, which is completely opposite from what I do in real
Right.
life.
Yeah.
So that gives me a huge, massive break from my work. So even when I'm traveling, there is movies on the phone which is going to be not funny at all. No comedy movies watched. That doesn't happen.
Right. Right. No, I just wanted to highlight those aspects as well so that people understand comedy is not all about smiles and laugh. Comedy has dark sides to it. There's sadness, there's tensions, there's, all sorts of drama associated with it. So yeah, thank you for walking down your memory lane. You have a pretty good memory to talk about how it started, how you're maintaining it, and what you want to do moving forward. So it's been such a fun experience. I was very excited, and I don't know when I had this much fun talking to someone on an episode because it's been such a fun experience to laugh, smile with you in this conversation.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of your episodes. I haven't been able to see all of them.
Right.
But with how many ever I saw, I feel extremely honored to be a part of your show. This is an amazing thing. And thank you for having me. I had so much fun doing.
One last thing. Do you have any tricks for us before we end the show by any chance? That would be a fun thing.
Yes, I do, Sankalp. I'm always ready that way. Yes,
You know what I was thinking? I was hoping that, you will ask me about that box and you would ask me a number and you would pull out the card from that box. But if that doesn't happen, that is okay.
Okay. If you want that to happen, we can try that.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll use that then. Okay. So the deck now, I'm sure the people who's going to view the video would have noticed the box has been there the whole time. So the box is going to stay there. I will still not touch it. I took one card out of the box before we started the podcast today, and I reversed it and I put it back in the deck. So there is one card in that deck which is reversed. Sankalp.
Okay.
I am going to make you pick that card.
No way.
And you are going to try to resist it. Okay.
Okay.
So resist the influence.
Okay.
So we'll do this step by step. There are two colors in a pack of cards. There is reds and there is blacks. Name one, red or black. What do you want it to be?
Red. My favorite color.
Okay.
Red. Yeah.
There are 89% of people who would go for red.
Oh, wow.
I'm not telling you to change. I'm just saying.
Unique. That insults me, but it's okay. I'll stick with red.
I'm just saying. No, you can change to black if you want. I'm just saying that is the statistics.
Now you'll give me a different number when I change to black.
No. It's all you will decide everything, Sankalp. Trust me.
Okay, I'm going to change it to
Final
black.
choice.
No, I was just saying you will give me a different statistic for people who change to black. So I will be that person and I will change it to black.
Fantastic. Now, there are two suits in the color black, clubs and spades. Which one do you want it to be?
Let's go club. Yeah.
Clubs. Okay, this time I will not give you statistics. Do you want to stick to clubs or do you want to change it to spades?
I'll stick with it. Yeah.
You are happy with clubs?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the card is going to be a club.
Yeah.
There are 13 values in a pack of cards, Sankalp, from ace through king. Now, before even you make a choice, I will tell you this upfront. Aces, queens, and kings are very popular cards.
Okay.
Everybody picks them. Everybody. At the end of this, I don't want you to think that everybody picks the same card. That's how the Fatso did it. No.
Okay.
People, you have to know my talent, Sankalp. Okay, you have to experience the show in like one trick.
I'm ready with my number. I was ready with the number even before we began the show.
That is amazing, dude. Oh my god. So if this works, this is going to be better than I thought. What is your number?
Okay. 5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure?
I am sure because it was my roll number back in school, so I'm stuck with it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Perfect. So this number means something to you, literally.
Yeah.
That is great. So we have the value, we have the suit. Your card would be the 5 of clubs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
One last chance, Sankalp. Do you want to change any of this? You can still change it.
Yeah, I will change it to 6. To make
the last minute thing, huh? Lovely.
I'm gonna try.
So now you want it to be the 6 of clubs, yeah? Now you remember I told you in that deck of clubs.
Yeah.
Yes, black 6 of clubs is Sankalp's card now. And very important, we did not discuss anything before this. I did not tell you to say stakes or clubs or anything. This is you. Yeah. Okay. I said I will influence you to pick that card, which I reversed in the deck, right? I haven't touched the deck. I'm touching it for the first time.
Okay.
It will not leave the frame, Sankalp. Keep your eyes on the deck. Okay? It will not leave the frame. Just a reminder to people. Sankalp's card is the 6 of clubs. I'm going to open the box. Take the cards out, Sankalp. There is nothing else in the box. One card is going to be reversed in this. Somewhere in the middle, you're going to see one card that I turned over before we started shooting this. One card is reversed. Every card is facing you. There is one card turned around. You said the 5 of clubs and then you changed it to the 6 of clubs. And I told you I will make you pick this card. Sankalp, how did I do?
How?
Magic show! Yeah!
Oh my god, this is insane.
Thanks, man. Thank you, man.
Oh my god, I literally asked you out of nowhere about the box and you did it. No wonder.
Yeah.
No wonder.
And I never planned it actually, okay? Let's just say that. I did not put the box there to make you stay. Not at all.
Well, you will never know. Stay tuned. Yeah. Perhaps we'll have another conversation with Karan 10 years down the lane or somewhere soon. But this shows why you're having the success you are, why you're funny, and hopefully it stays the same but gets better as it goes forward for you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the Karan Chauhan Show, and you are watching it on What's Your Sankalp. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Before you stop the recording, everybody subscribe to the channel right now. And you will get 5 years of good luck. There you go.
Woo!
Yeah.
That WhatsApp forward.
And then Sankalp subscribe to his own channel.
Thank you so much, Karan.
But thank you for having me, Sankalp. You are one of the most wonderful hosts I've ever spoken to. You're very warm, you're very welcoming, and I had so much fun with you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an honor. Thank you for letting me part of your journey, and good luck. Hopefully, I'll be there in one of your shows in person, and you'll ask me to come on stage and you'll do some trick with me. Yeah, manifesting.
I'll do something better than this. I promise you, I'll do something better than this.
Good luck, take care, and thank you again for your time. Yeah.
Thank you, man.